YouTube, Johnny Jenkins back with you. Well, look, I'm in the truck working, getting unloaded right now. I just wanted to do a quick update. Quick is kind of a rough term with me. But I want to do an update, on what's going on with this channel, if anything is going to be coming, if anything's changing. And look, I fell off the face of the earth a handful of years back, and I don't really know how much I even went into what was going on. Look, your man went through a lot of stuff, and a lot of things fell apart, and life changed. I had to make some adult decisions, and I had to go through some stuff, a lot of stuff. And that basically had to sell the boat, eventually had to sell the truck, had to work full-time. Unlike a lot of these bass pros these days, they don't know what a full-time job is. That's for damn sure. They know what entrepreneurship is. But point is, and they know what living a dream is. It's a dream. But I'll tell you this, so I took a couple years to kind of continue falling down the face of the earth. And then finally, so everything fell apart for me in like 2017-ish. It was kind of starting to fall apart a little bit before then, but I fell off the face of the earth somewhere around that time. Lost the boat in 2018, I believe. Eventually lost the truck later on, 2019. When I say lost, I just basically had to make adult decisions to say, hey, I'm gonna have to take a break from fishing. I gotta get finances back together. Certain things in life gotta recalibrate and start over. And a lot of that is, job driven, career driven. I was just working jobs, and at a certain point you got to make adult decisions, and that's not good enough. So, and I was discriminated against. Atlanta is kind of a rough area. So it's a rough area, especially if you're a white male. It's either going to be women throwing you out of the workplace, or you can calibrate the rest. I don't have to articulate that for you, but it's one of those. So finally had to make some adult decisions and come up and go through a lot of stuff. And so eventually kind of started to recover 2019. 20 got knocked back down again in 2019. Had to cut some people off 2019, 2020. I pretty much I set my path on a career path in 2019, and that didn't work out, and had to start over again. 2020, pandemic hit. Now 2020 is when I finally started making some good decisions. I had to make some I've had to make a lot of sacrifices, and it meant making sacrifices. And it meant monk mode, just buckle down and figure things out and come up from the mud. And that's what it was again. So, I actually started making some good decisions, started listening to God a little more, I think, and taking my time, not rushing into stuff. And not taking as much risk, being realistic. Something about being in your late 20s and 30s, you start getting a little more wise, definitely a lot more realistic. And now that I'm 30, almost 32, I swear it's crazy. I don't know if it's just because I'm at the peak in waking up and my consciousness, I don't know. But I feel like I can literally, I can almost see bullshit coming from like half a mile away. And it's like this superpower now where I know that certain people ain't shit. I know certain people ain't my type of people, and I ain't fooling with them. And I know certain types of situations are going to probably lead to certain outcomes, and I know that certain things are going to lead to good outcomes, or could, I should say, and then certain things, probably not. So it's definitely a very interesting thing. And anyway, point is, made a career change in 2021, decided that I was going to get a CDL, get on the road, truck. If you had told me some years back that I would, have bought, that I would have quit fishing, to basically come up in life, I'd have been very surprised. I think most fishermen out there would never do that. I was forced into it to a large degree. And a lot of it was my own making. Some of it I certainly deserve. Some of it not so much. But I did some bad things. I also made some bad decisions. I made a lot of bad decisions. And, I've learned and grown from that. And, and the real deal is that I decided, I got burnt out from fishing too, with how hard I was trying to push to make something happen. And I wasn't ready, and I wasn't at that level. And I'm guilty of my pride and my ego getting to me too much. So sometimes I've grown up from that a little bit. So yeah, I'm still guilty of it sometimes, I guess. But point is, so I made the career change in 2021. And in the trucking industry, it's not a job. It's not even just a career. It's a lifestyle. Okay? So it's a lifestyle. I decided that I was going to stay down until I come up. And when I say stay down, it means living in the truck, living on the road. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And you can grow as a person out here. You can also grow financially if you do things the right way and whatnot. And it's just monk mode, man. It's just literally buckle down and do what most people cannot do, which is keep it together and sacrifice. And that's what I've done. So I've been basically, I went to CDL school in like May of 2021. Got my CDL then, driving my first company in June of 2021. So now 4 years later, over 500,000 miles later, basically four different companies. This is my fourth, I think, that I've been with. Fourth. And, over 500,000 miles, man. And I've been laying them down. And I've been living in the truck. I spend about 330 plus days a year in the truck, and that's what I have been doing. Now we're starting to get to a different phase. Now I'm starting to get, to a point where some things might be changing. The next phase of it, and I don't know. I might throw my stuff in storage and move and somewhere and hunker down for another little while and do some more monk mode. I don't know. But I also think it might be time to change it up and do something a little different. And that could also mean maybe doing some more stuff in the future. The point is, there could be more of me in the future. I don't know if it's now. But I appreciate anybody that's watching this that is stuck around. You're going to probably be old subscribers that remember me. I can almost guarantee you, that there will become a day when I get back into fishing. And I don't know what it's going to look like for YouTube. I don't know what it's going to look like for me. And there's no telling. Anything can happen, in life. And there's no telling out here. But if things come together, and maybe I take YouTube along for the ride. I don't know. It would be a lot of great content. I'm talking coming from the mud. I really should do more with trucking. But, man, I just be working so hard. I'm looking forward to the day when they have like an AI that can completely edit the video for you. And you can just give it like a sample video and it edit it just like the clips you feed into it. That's going to come in the near future. Right now, we're not like that. And I don't want to pay an editor. I'm not in a situations. I really could. But so point is, I went through a little span where I did some trucking YouTube stuff. And I'll tell you another thing, man. Part of it is I don't really want to be out here I don't want to be advertising trucking because, man, I really don't want more truck drivers coming out here, man. It's already tough. We got too many damn truck drivers, and we got not enough loads, and the rates suck, and I'm thinking about buying a semi-truck someday. I got the money for it, and I've been looking. I'm just waiting for the right time, and I run my own business, per se. It's running my own truck, really, is what it is. So, I'd like to do that. I want to do it at the right time, but I don't know if it's the right time right now. I think I'm a little early. But, we'll see. So that's kind of where it is, man. I've got like a 1 year plan, 3 year plan, 5 year plan, and I'm in the middle of about a 10-year plan right now. Has ended up how it's working out. And, I really don't know, it's so funny, man. When I started this, when I decided I was going to stay down, I was like, okay, I'm 3 years away. I get my license. I'm 3 years away. I'm going to get back into fishing. I'm going to get back into fishing. My life going to be right. But then you level up and you grow as a person. And you're like, man, retirement is important. Man, doing things the right way, not just doing it because you want to do it is the right way. It's about doing it the right way. Just because you have just enough money to get into some more debt and give yourself some liabilities and more problems doesn't mean that's what you should do. And so it's about doing things the right way. It's about delayed gratification. And that shit ain't easy. It don't come easy. But sometimes, you grow up and you like, this started. Let me give you the quick evolution of how this started. And it seems like I'm always 3 years away from getting back into fishing. And that's kind of what it's looking like right now. Again, I said it 3 years ago. I'm saying it again because you just level up and you grow, man. It's like, man, at first it started, I just wanted to be a truck driver from Texas. I was going to move to Texas and be a truck driver from Texas. And then that changed. I saw that Texas really ain't kind of it ain't really hitting on what I was expecting. It's, there's a lot of Californians that have done moved there. It's a little more liberal than I like. A little too dusty, a little too hot. Mostly just it's not what I thought. It's not, in my opinion. So I'm not with it. Especially at the local level. I'm not a fan. So, not to say that I won't move there someday. I'd like to have a rental property down there somewhere around southeast, north, or maybe northeast Texas, probably east to southeast. So I like that Beaumont, Texas area, believe it or not. Like, unlike most people don't, but I do. I like it. So point is, that was the evolution. And then it turned into, man, I really want to I got to get that rental property. Because I was thinking I'd get back into fishing and get a rental property. And, well, actually, first it started, I want to buy a house, right? Buy a primary residence, instead of renting and stuff like that. Then it turned into rental property. You got to level up, got to have the rental property now. It's about buying at the right time and this, that, and the other. And, do that so you can get a property and have a few tenants there. They're mostly paying the mortgage for you, and you got a very cheap place to stay. And then in a good environment, a good market, you might even have a free place to stay. And then eventually, some years down the road, when the mortgage is paid down a little bit, you in a good market, you might actually be getting paid to have a place to live, or maybe you're in another place you're already living at, and it's a profit, And then you can use it as equity to go get another place and this, that, and the other. You can loan against it, do different things at the right time for the right reasons. Well, that's a big deal that I want. It's a big bite. And that's a big part of my plan is I don't want to be doing these little things. I could just take my money, go get back into fishing. But I know that some of these big bites, these big chunks of things I want to do that I believe I need to do, and that if I don't do them now, I will probably never do them. And the next thing was like, maybe I really do want to be an owner-operator. Maybe I really do want to buy my own semi-truck. Maybe. But then it's been like a depression out here. The cost of living so bad. That's part of the reason I stay down and live in the truck. Because, man, paying $1,000 a month for a decent place to stay? Oh, fuck that. Man, y'all got me messed up. I'm dead serious. Yeah, I'm looking around and, man, they got crappy places listed for, $700 to $1,000 a month. You got to be insane. It is what it is. So that's part of the reason why that rental property, that owner-occupied real estate, is a critical move. It's a big bite that I've just got to do that. If I don't do it, then I failed, and I can't fail. And I've made a promise to myself that before I can get back into fishing, I have to have at least that rental property. I have to have that. And that's one of the things that's kept me down so far. And then it changed on the owner-operator. And now let me tell you something right now. I thought that the real estate was going to be the big chunk. Let me tell you, the capital that it takes to safely get into this trucking game. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it cheap with, $30,000. You can do that, but you taking risks. Me, it's about doing it the right way. And there's certain ways I want to run my business. You know, we're not talking about having $50,000 even to start. If you ain't coming into the game with at least $50,000 to $80,000+, and that's money to buy a truck, and then money for emergency and money for maintenance right out the bat. If you ain't got that, you know, but there's different ways of running a business. Plenty of people that do it with $20,000. They buy a cheap truck, they fix it up a little bit. I don't like running old trucks. There's different ways to do it. We get into that later on. Point is, you know, it's been those evolutions. So now, not to mention inflation done bit away my money. The old $60,000, or the new $60,000 is the old 30. You know, so, you know, I'm just being ate alive out here. We're like, aren't we all? But, you know, luckily I'm benefiting. You know, people like me that are staying down, being frugal, are benefiting the most. So, you know, it is what it is. So you see these big bites, and that's what I'm trying to. I got those 2 big bites that I really want to try to bite, get a good bite into before gratification. Get the boat, probably get an RV to tow it with, you know, a little RV, just a little one, you know. But man, that's the deals. So that's what we're waiting on. That's what we're working on. And you know, some things are going to change next year. Probably going to slow down. Probably going to, you know, change it up next year. We'll probably get into that next year, and we'll talk about it. But unfortunately, the fish, I have done a little fishing. Maybe I'll post. Maybe I will. I'm not really editing. This is just a quick, you know, deal. You know, I have done a little bit of fishing, not much though. I've had years in the last handful of years where, you know, I did not do any fishing. And I've had years where I did a little. I went to Okeechobee with a guide, made a new friend, had an incredible time. I went down to the Everglades the next day with him and caught some peacock bass. The amount of bites that we had and the amount of fish that we caught in those 2 days, incredible. I timed it. I was paying attention to Okeechobee, the water level going down. Cool stuff, man. I'm a lot more opinionated these days. So part of me wants to talk about certain things, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. I don't know. But that's another thing. I've thought about getting out and posting about different things. You know, I'll tell you this, that if you're into this for fishing, maybe stick around. If it's not a fishing video I post, maybe you just don't watch. I understand what it's like, though. If I'm subscribed to a YouTuber, you know, and they post a video that's not the kind of content that I subscribed for, I get it. I don't even like it in my subscription box. I appreciate you for sticking around if you do. It actually means a lot, because it means that, you know, if you're spending some time to listen to me, I really appreciate that, because I know I listen to a lot of content, a lot, and I know how important time is, and I appreciate your time, and I hope I bring some value. I hope you get some entertainment and maybe learn something out of it. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm on some game. Okay, I can deliver some content that can help your life. Okay, because I done come up a little bit. You know, I've learned how the world works a little bit more. I've learned how the game works. I've learned how to save money, invest money. I've learned how to trade in the markets. I have learned crypto stuff and this, that, and the other. And your boy has come up a little bit, to say the least. And we might be getting ready to make some leaps. But point is, you know, I've changed quite a bit. And when I got my CDL in 2021, I knew that my old life was over. And I went into my phone, changed my phone number, and deleted over 200 contacts. And that was the beginning. I started over. When I say monk mode, I really mean it. I deleted all my social medias too. The only thing I kept was YouTube. I don't really consider it a social media. So, you know, and that's really it. So, yeah, fishing is on the agenda. Fishing content. You're going to see, I think if you see some videos in the near future, it's going to be some trucking stuff. I don't know what that's going to mean. It could just me be talking. I could be just talking about life. 32. I've experienced a lot. I've woken up. I've grown up. And I have a damn good perspective on a lot of stuff these days, let me tell you. I keep it real. There is real and there is fake, and most people fake as shit. And I can almost see them coming a mile away these days. There's no such thing as good. It's not necessarily just good or bad. It's not left or right. It's good versus evil, but it's mostly real and fake. So, I can tell you, I've almost always been real. That's for damn sure. So, that's me. I'm signing out. You see that little dog? Oh, she cleaning right now. She cleaning. What's up? What's up with you? You gonna say bye to them? Bye-bye. We out.